Hi, here we are in week 2. This week includes 2 modules. The first one, 2A, is a look at e-learning in an organizational context. The second module, 2B, looks at adult learning theory and its implications for e-learning design, and also includes an exploration of e-learning examples in the context of adult learning theory, and also an exploration of e-learning approaches in general. For the first module, 2A, a lot of organizational factors come into play when designing e-learning training. Here are a few. One is technology. That is a crucial one for e-learning. What tools are available and supported in your organization? What platforms are used? What about technical support for your learning management system? An example of this, I have worked for the past few years at a college on grant-funded instructional projects, many of which have involved providing instruction and training to organizations rather than more traditional college classes. We had one project that involved providing an 8-week training to employees at the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. And we did an audience analysis, and we learned that a lot of the participants had a fairly low level of proficiency with technology. Well, the platform supported by our college was Blackboard, and that has a steeper learning curve than some other platforms. Also, in order to access Blackboard, participants would have to go through our full college registration process, and we saw that as a barrier. So we opted for Moodle, but that had a lot of implications because we had to provide all of the tech support for the 1,000 learners, and we had to create our own registration system. We were able to do it, but it was no small thing. HR policies. A lot of organizations have rules that dictate what type of training programs can be completed during work hours and what types of training need to be completed on your own time. That has implications for design, employee motivation. Is the training required? So good to know about all of those factors when you're entering into the design process. Resources. Resources are crucial. What's the time frame? Do you have additional staff? Do you have technical staff? What's your budget? All of those factor into the design. You may have grand plans that end up being, well, I'll do the best I can, because you may need double the amount of time to develop a truly phenomenal e-learning program. Also, sometimes organizations try to solve problems with training when training is really not the answer. Here are a few questions to ask yourself when you're approached with a training project. Is there a skills or knowledge gap that the organization is trying to address? If the answer is yes, then training is probably a great way to solve the problem. If there's an employee motivation problem, training could possibly help, but probably not. Third item, is the training part of a huge organizational change? For example, in a healthcare organization implementing a new electronic health record system. If there is no change management initiative, if there aren't any change management initiatives in the organization, your training is at risk. If people haven't already bought into the change, they may put up a lot of resistance in your training, and it may be unsuccessful not because of your training design, but because of attitudinal issues that haven't been addressed prior to the training. Also, do take a look at Kathy Moore's flowchart video on determining if training is the answer. Kathy Moore, by the way, is a prominent e-learning developer and a prominent e-learning thought leader. Her site has great stuff. I find it a continual source of inspiration. So, what's the problem if an organization tries to use training to solve a problem that really can't be solved by training? The problem is that this can come back and bite you, because post-training, when they discover that the problem hasn't been solved, they could point to the training as the reason why the problem wasn't solved. So, I hope you enjoy Module 2A and that you'll be able to apply the information there to projects in the future. Moving on to 2B, I encourage you to spend a fair amount of time looking at the examples and the sites listed. And you may also want to start a resources list and start compiling information there for future use, because you'll be exposed to a fair amount in this course. And, a lot of information is, of course there are your textbooks, but there's a lot of information that's just found by trawling the web and knowing which sites to visit, getting on a listserv for sites that you find especially interesting or useful. I am especially looking forward to your Week 2 forum posts to see what you gleaned from your internet travels and what you found worthy of sharing with me and your colleagues. All right, I will see you online.